Oh hey, didn't see you there. Just me, outside in some gale force winds, trying to decide what's better, the tried and true Buzzz or the new flavor, the Hex. But before we dive in, we've got to ask the most important question of the day. How you doing today, Avi? Are you having a good one?
So catch me if I fall.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Buzzz battle. I realized that like we do the pig battles at one course, and I feel like it's only appropriate if we try to do the Buzzz battles at another course. So we're back at the OG one where we tested the Buzzz against the reactor, and testing probably the most iconic, the one that I knew would be probably like the most talked about, and that is the Buzzz versus the Hex. We have our traditional ESP Buzzz as well as a Buzzsaw Buzzz. Pulled the old 5-claw out for the more important Buzzz in the space right now, the Jimothy Jr., thanks to Jay Milley. And going against it, I thought about getting a Fission Hex, but I felt like Fission Hex is gonna be flippier than, let's say, what an ESP Buzzz is supposed to do. So we just went with a Neutron Hex as well as a Lazadal, the Eclipse Hex. I'm gonna be 100% transparent. I knew it was windy when I went outside, but as I drove down to this course and felt my Chevy Silverado actively getting pushed around the road, I was like, it's a little windier than I thought. So I just read the weather report real fast. Wind gusts up to 43 miles an hour, making the temperature feel like 63. So let's throw some Buzzes and let's talk about it. We'll go Buzzz Hex and see what we can do. So we'll start off with the Jimothy Jr. going down to that there basket. We're just trying to throw some nice simple hyzers. Once again, weather conditions, you can see that's gonna need to get up. I forget that in the wind, it just pushes things down in a mighty way. Okay, that one came out a lot faster. And I was like, oh look, there's little children. What if we just threw a disc right at them? Those were not good. But I can hear the wind picking up and coming at us. Let's see what we can do. Buzzsaw. Much better. There you go. Buzzsaw all the way down there. Lazadal. Oh yeah, we got some turn out of her. Push. That was bad. Okay. Not great throws to start. People mentioned before, and I get it, that the putting could have an influence in terms of even last time we were here, I was putting like a maniac, it seemed, when I was putting with the reactor. Someone mentioned it should be CTPs, right? Like it should come down to just the ability to throw the disc. That's what we're gonna mark, is who has the most CTPs walking on the other side of this. No putting involved, which will also help streamline the video a little bit. So right off the bat, it looks like the Buzzz is gonna take hole one. Let's head off to hole two and we'll talk about how you can already have an influence on the next video. So at the time of recording this, the comments section is where I'm going to go find the next video that we're comparing it to. So it's not a how many times is the Hex mentioned in the comments, and that's what I'm going to test. It is one comment, whatever is the most interactive with comment. And at the time of this, it was actually a pretty close battle between the Hex and the Pathfinder, but I cut the polls, I ended the voting. I think the Hex had a few more comments on it, as well as about 10 more likes on the post. But the Pathfinder put up a strong fight. So if you want the Pathfinder for the next one, make sure you're first person to go comment in it. Congratulations, you're gonna get all the like YouTube karma points and things of people interacting with your post. We'll see if the Pathfinder wins the next battle, or if the Pathfinders are feeling defeated and someone else, a sneaky competitor, can get there. But you guys get the vote. Decide what you want to be next in the battle. On this one, we're gonna throw the ESP Buzzz. We're gonna throw Jimothy Jr. as well as the Neutron Hex. This is just a backhand hyzer trying to go through the gap. Now, what I really appreciate about these two is that everyone always talks about the Buzzz being super straight, right? It's a 5-5, or it's a 5-4 -1-1, as opposed to the Hex, which is a 5-5 -1-1. And I think the Hex has always flown more traditional to the numbers than maybe the Buzzz does in terms of being just a dead straight option. I think Buzzes most often off the shelf have a little more hook than a Hex does. But I also do think that Hexes, most often when people are talking about them, they're talking about the flight path of a Fission Hex, which is this understable, super easy hyzer flip machine. I don't think that Hexes for most people out the gate are gonna be like easy stand up, ride straight discs. But once again, we talked about like this whole series was because I had reactors in my bag, and I ended up in a problem when it came to the Hex, and it's why a Hex ultimately didn't end up staying in the bag. A little bit of wind protection, hopefully. This is probably one of the few holes that we're gonna get wind protection. Okay, sorry, Jamie Lee. Well, the Hex definitely went CTP there, but neither of those were great shots. So the best part about this, because we're not going to the putting green, is we can really showcase and just go again. We'll go Lazadal. Okay. Wow. That found some gaps. In order to not grip lock it into this tree, I'm early releasing. The point still goes to the Hex because it got down there better than first one did, but we finally hit the line that we were looking for. Neither of the Hexes really stood up to flat. They just kind of like stayed on that baby hyzer that I put them on. And I think the Buzzes did the same thing, which is really nice. Like very much whatever angle you put them on, it's gonna take a crazy amount of wind for these things, I feel like, to go whoop and stand up easy, especially because all of them are pretty much fresh. We found ourselves at hole 4, which is, I think, a really cool par 4. It's definitely a multi-shot hole because you're not getting inside the gap down there, but way down alongside this tree line is a gap into the woods. The miss is to throw it straight, not fade into the woods. You can't fade into the woods. And if you're out here feeling a little greedy and you're like, I don't know, man, it'd be easier if I was closer to the wood line. You can't fade into the woods. It's very bad. This is exciting because really the big like distance hole that we might have a shot for, we should, if this wind persists, have a massive tailwind on like a 500-foot par 4. Let's be honest, guys, we all know how disc golf works. From the time of filming this, we're gonna be there in like 20 or 30 minutes at the earliest. So it'll probably all swirl and it'll be a headwind on that hole too. Let's give these things a chance to fly. I'm gonna try to throw them flat. That's the goal, try to throw them flat, sort of angling, using T-box geometry, just head that direction. And if they turn over, they turn over. That's gonna put us significantly farther away from the entrance. To quote a guy that was out here trying to help people score well, you can't throw into the woods. Yep, that's in the woods. How does it also fade into the woods? Let's see if we can get redemption on these. That one's not in the woods. It's not good, but it's not in the woods. So the big gap up there is where you're trying to throw. And when you don't listen to the advice of yourself, you end up in world tier so deep into the woods that you can't even get a mark behind your lie. And that's like the best you can do. At least this one isn't all the way in the woods, but we started it so wide. There we go. There's gaps to the basket. We gotta hit the gaps. We hit the gaps. And we hit a tree in there. I think that's gonna be pretty good. I think it's a forehand. And we just let this thing, I mean, the wind's pushing this way, so the forehand's gonna get pushed straight. We pured where we were trying to throw with the Buzzz. We hit a tree with the Hex. Well, maybe the Hex is just better in that way, guys. Like if you're throwing Hexes, like even when you mess up and you hit things, like it just wants to get close to the basket. I mean, am I trying to put an asterisk on the Hex right now? Maybe, because I mean, this hit that one of these trees. No tree, it's like way far that way. But this never lies, guys. This never lies. So I'm a couple months into having Buzzes in the bag, and I will admit that I still don't love even the buzzsaw on a forehand, like a shot like I just threw there. I just feel like I have to be so touchy on it. But I've got a friend who I play with on a regular basis who throws the Hex on forehand all the time. He's pretty masterful with it. I can see where you forehand it. It just feels a little too on the touchy side for me. I think if I was forehanding mids, I'd rather almost go flippier so that I know I can go softer with it and watch it stand up like a Buzzz SS or something like that. I just feel like the Hex on a forehand could be dicey, but it has the box still, 2-1. So this is a 285 foot. We just got to punch it in the gap and then watch her go, but can't have it stand up too much here. like that. Because when it stands up too much, it just rides straight into the trees. Buzz? That slipped out of my hands. That's certainly not very good. YouTuber Robbie, honest truth here, walked up to film both of them. Honestly, neither of them in great positions to film, which is tough. So we're giving them both a redo with the caveat the Hex had the better drive of the two. Still not great, but had the better drive of the two. If this drive ends up in a worse place, I'll put the Hex back where it started and just show you the bad. Just go wider. Okay, I put more on it as to not early release into this tree, but it stood up even more and just went wider. Okay, me and that tree. I mean, I was hyper focused on it the second time, I'll be honest. You know, keeping the YouTube truths going. The camera is currently leaning against a tree because the best course of action and that tree that it's leaning against was what I was pinned behind for the first throw. Now, that's not very good. That's certainly beatable. Thankfully, guys, I don't forehand either of these discs. All right, 3-1 for the Hex. Not as one-sided as I ended up thinking it was. Had to walk it off there for a second because the Hex kicked a tree and continued to sail, and the Buzzz, when it hit the ground, got a little more foreground action. It was literally like a difference of like 2 feet. Now I can already see the comments here, ladies and gentlemen, of he was so biased against the Hex. It like gives me shadows or hints of when I did my testing over stable putt and approach discs. When people were like, Mr. YouTube man, the envy was exactly what you were looking for. You just wanted to hate. Bruh, the Luna was not it. You were just biased. And I'll be the first to admit that I do think that there's a little bias here because I have had a Hex in my bag for a long time. Had one in there. And where I think the Hex was difficult for me was it complicating the middle slots of my bag. See, when I had a reactor in my bag, I found that a fission reactor and a electron Hex basically flew the same. Both of them wanted to hold super straight and eventually have just a little bit of finish at the end. But I felt like the most overstable version of Hexes never had the same stability of even the most understable side of reactors. So while I certainly did have sort of what I have in the Buzzz SS slot right now figured out in terms of a fission Hex, when I went to that middle slot or I was maybe looking up to a electron reactor, I struggled on decision-making picking in that area. Because it was always a battle of when is this Eclipse Hex gonna be too seasoned that it doesn't have its fade anymore versus understanding that on a fission reactor, flippier was fine because it started more overstable. There you go. Jimothy back on the box. Let's go nice low straight shot. Okay. Something about me today not committing to the pull through at all. Yeah, like that's also not good. Let's try the other two. It's really high, but it's down there. Turn. Yeah, there you go. Did I early release the Lazadal? Also yes. I want to throw far and I want to stop having to think about what I'm doing when I throw for at least like a couple months. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 and some change. 1, 2, 2 and some change. Even the redemption, disc never lies. 4-2. Hexes just got to grab one more. And based on how I'm throwing the Buzzz today, the door is open. Hex is looking to put the nail in the coffin, ladies and gentlemen. And the Buzzz, based on how I'm throwing it today, is looking to like, here you go, sir. Put in another. Looks like we can go fast. We've got 2 holes in a row that go this way. Have the wind with us. It's gonna push it down, but also if that hyzer edge gets up, it's gonna carry it straight and left. Like that. Think it got through to the other side. That's fine. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. tree in my way. 7, so about 21 feet for the Buzzz. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 and some change. By the hair on its chinny chin chin. The Buzzz hangs on to fight another day. Let's throw far. Here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the arena where the wind is a beast, but we are stronger. If the edge gets exposed at all, I think it's in trouble. We're just gonna send it. Here we go. It was really good. I actually like that shot a lot. You can just see how much the wind is messing with it. I did what it was supposed to. It just, yeah, the wind took everything off of it. I mean, this is tough. And that one we just didn't get a hold of it either. Okay. Got 2 up shots. Okay. It's not that close because I forgot that the wind's there. Probably left like 30 feet. The door is open for the Hex to close things off. How do we feel about this angle of attack, Mr. Crawford? I do like it. I do like it for this Hex. I'm basically gonna hang it out wide over that tree to the right. Just let it fade in because it's, I mean, ripping right. I hung it out wide. I would be curious watching it back. I was gonna hang it over that tree. I think I threw it exactly over that tree. I just wasn't ready for it to climb almost 100 extra feet and go far. Buzzz takes it. It all comes down to this. 300 feet, flat shot. Not a stitch of obstacle in the way. Buzzz has the box right now, so we'll go Jimothy, Neutron. If you're gonna get Jimothy on Neutron something with like a Jimmy Neutron type vibe. Okay, it's definitely beatable, especially considering it never got really higher than my kneecaps. The Knights in Skyrim, or the guards, terrified right now, but definitely beatable. That one has the height. If that goes off the path, that could be good. That's definitely closer. Keep turning. What? It just they got knocked down. There's like something there, okay? For the Hexers. Yeah, see? I feel like that utilized the exact same airspace as the Buzzz, but didn't get knocked down. This is close. I liked Jimothy's odds. Hit it like a stick or something. Ended up not good, but there's a little downhill here, and the Buzzz made its way past some pine cones. So here's what we're gonna do. 1, 2, 3, 12, 13, 14, 22, 23, 23 and a half. 1, 2, 3, 14, 15, 19, 20, 20 and a half. 20 and a half. That's gonna do it, ladies and gentlemen. I do think that the Hex is very good. I think that people should bag the Hex. I think you should love the Hex. And I think if you are not someone who likes that slightly overstable mid-range that maybe a Eclipse Reactor gives you, or an overstable Buzzz, or a Wasp, or things like that, like you go like neutral to overstable-ish mid, and then you jump all the way to a Justice, or a Gator, or a Cayman, or a Quake, things like that, then I think that the Hex is probably perfect for you in your bag, and you should definitely check it out. I like the shot shaping potential that I get out of a Buzzz, and I do think that just the sheer number of Buzzes out there, I think there are a lot of Hexes. There are a ton of Hexes, but I stand by that. I think the most overstable Hexes in the Eclipse Hex is still gonna be on par with a middleweight Buzzz, but the Hex does go far. I'll never forget Hunter throwing the Hex all over my face and throwing it like 400 plus feet at Creators Cup many, many years ago. So, hope this is good. Let me know in the comments what's going next. Is the Pathfinder getting his shot at glory? Is something else getting his shot? Is the M4 stepping into the conversation? My boy Nate trying to push the Millennium Aura into the conversation. Hope this battle shaped out how you wanted it to. I'm sure there's gonna be comments about like, hey, you shanked this shot, hey, this didn't go well. I'm not the best golfer in the world, nor am I the most consistent, but I am consistently not throwing far. That's all we're gonna do. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Please make it fantastic for someone else too. But for now, we're gonna leave you with the birdie.